The slaughter between two outsiders, it was during this that I encountered. At that moment, a flash of sword light appeared, and the formation in the valley trembled. Immediately, large cracks began to spread across it. Wang Lin sneered. With a slap of his right hand, he retrieved a storage pouch, and instantly, the forbidden banner appeared in his hand. With a flick, the banner flew into the air, transforming into black forbidden energy. Amidst the howling sound, it quickly entered the formation, weaving through the cracks at a rapid pace. The cracks in the formation closed at a visible rate, and with the integration of the forbidden banner, the formation's power was instantly multiplied several times. After completing these actions, Wang Lin took a step forward, and in an instant, he disappeared from his original position. When he reappeared, he was outside the valley. Several dozen yards away, the man in black, riding a flying sword, coldly gazed at him. Around them, purple mist-like auras drifted through the air like wandering souls, and within the surging demonic energy, some demonic spirit beast occasionally manifested, with some directly charging at the two men after they materialized. Wang Lin pointed with his right hand, and a demonic spirit beast let out a miserable cry before vanishing without a trace. The man in black scrutinized Wang Lin for a few moments. His gaze tightened, and the previous arrogance in his expression vanished. After a brief hesitation, he spoke. "Which sect do you belong to, friend?" Wang Lin, with 3 gray whirlwinds spinning around his fingers, emitted a faint whistling sound. Coldly staring at the man in black, he said, "Stop with the nonsense. If you're not going to fight, leave now." The man in black smiled with anger. "What an arrogant person. If not for the fact that you look familiar and I fear harming someone connected, would I bother speaking with you? Since you're looking for death, then I'll grant you that." Wang Lin didn't engage in further conversation. As the man spoke, he slapped his storage pouch, and the immortal sword flashed out. Wang Lin took a step forward and swung his sword through the void. A sword beam several meters long shot out like lightning, instantly striking downward. At the same time, a curved blade followed closely behind, flashing and rushing out like thunder. The man in black's face changed as he saw the sword beam, and he quickly retreated, shouting, "So you're from the Great Luo Sword sect. Fine, you should know the rules here. Hand over the crystal, and I won't harm you." The sword beam howled as it approached, and the man in black raised his thin sword to block. He retreated several steps, but the sword beam was shattered by a tremor. However, in the moment of collapse, a cracking sound emanated from the thin sword in his hand. A small crack appeared on the flying sword. The man in black stared intently at the crack, then suddenly raised his head, his eyes filled with intense coldness. "You dare damage my flying sword?" he roared. "Today, even if you're from the Great Luo Sword sect, you will die without question." The man in black pressed his left hand in a gesture, and immediately a black flame appeared in his palm. "Earth-destroying fire, burn away the void." The man muttered lightly, and with a thrust of his left hand, the black flame shot forward. Before it even reached its target, it exploded in midair, transforming into countless flames that rapidly converged on Wang Lin. Just as the flames surged toward him, a flicker of black light flashed, and the man's face changed drastically. He forcibly shifted 3 inches to the side, but it was still too late. A burst of blood exploded from his right chest. His eyes widened in disbelief as he quickly retreated. At the same time, he took a pill from his storage pouch and swallowed it. The curved blade flickered and hovered around the immortal sword, its blade occasionally flashing with bloodlight. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed. Indeed, the cultivation level of this person was formidable. The speed of the curved blade was incredibly fast. Wang Lin realized that if he himself had been ambushed by the blade without preparation, he too might have been caught off guard. But this person had managed to force his body to move 3 inches to avoid the critical spot. This alone indicated that the opponent's essence spirit was much stronger than his own, and it seemed he could vaguely track the blade's trajectory. A killing intent flashed in Wang Lin's eyes. Since this person was so strong, he had to be killed today. If he escaped and learned of Wang Lin's attack methods and magical treasures, it would be impossible to resist him in the future. Taking advantage of the man's moment of carelessness, when he was injured by the curved blade, Wang Lin immediately charged forward. He didn't even glance at the flames raining down from the sky. His speed was like lightning. In the instant of charging, he raised his left thumb, pointing toward the void. Annihilation finger. The man in black pressed his right hand to his chest, and the wound immediately healed with no blood left. His complexion turned slightly pale, and he stared venomously at Wang Lin. With a shake of his thin sword, he shouted, "Sword shatter." With a single sound, the fine sword suddenly shattered with a series of cracking noises, turning into countless crystal shards that exploded in front of the person. The golden light surged, and in that instant, it crazily rushed toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's gaze flickered, and instead of dodging, he saw two of the three streaks of gray mist from the gap between his right hand's fingers instantly vanish. They followed his right hand's meridians and, at an incredible speed, appeared directly above his brow. On his brow, two complex runes suddenly appeared. Seal of Life. As soon as the rune appeared, it swiftly extended and, in the blink of an eye, covered Wang Lin's entire body. One rune covered a layer, and two covered two layers. At this moment, the shattered sword crystals were already close. In addition, the flames from the sky also quickly followed, enveloping Wang Lin's entire body. In this instant, Wang Lin was struck by the shards of the sword crystals, and from the outside, black celestial fire poured down from the sky, especially the celestial fire, which, in its descent, transformed into 6 black flame dragons. These flame dragons appeared as vivid as real dragons. As they roared and rushed forward, their dragon roars sounded like thunder, echoing like the booming of celestial thunder. The sound first entered Wang Lin's ears, immediately shaking his essence spirit. Then, the 6 flame dragons roared, their claws outstretched as they seemed to want to devour him in one bite. With a deafening roar, the sound was earth-shattering. It could be heard within a radius of 10,000 miles. Even the sky changed, and on the ground, countless cracks appeared, resembling a delicate spider web, splitting open with the sound of sharp cracks. At the epicenter of this resounding roar, countless ripples of magical power surged outward, spreading rapidly in all directions. Even the approaching demonic spirit chi waves were pushed back by these waves of energy, being forced to retreat to a great distance before slowly calming down. After a moment, the demonic spirit chi waves, like a herd of galloping horses, once again surged forward, howling fiercely, and soon enveloped the area in blackness once more. The man in black stood amidst the black chi waves. His face showed no joy, but instead became extremely serious. He took a deep breath and immediately retreated dozens of yards, quickly forming hand seals. His eyes fixed on the point where the flame dragons were charging, without even blinking. At the spot where the flame dragons had attacked, the demonic spirit chi waves blowing through had turned the area into complete darkness. Yet, in the middle of this darkness, a figure slowly stepped out, one step at a time. This figure's clothes moved as if blown by wind, making a crisp sound. On his lowered right hand, a whistling sound could be heard, and faintly, a small snake seemed to slither between his fingers. As the figure slowly emerged, the man in black's face darkened further. His hand seals became faster, and he muttered several complicated incantations under his breath. The figure, after walking several steps, found the demonic spirit chi waves around him parting as if someone had forced them apart, splitting down the middle. In the instant the chi waves split, the figure stepped forward and disappeared without a trace in the blink of an eye. Not good. The man in black showed no hesitation. His body immediately retreated. As he retreated, a silver light appeared like starlight, falling. Within the silver light, a thumb-sized object appeared in midair, pointing at where the man in black had been. Everything happened so quickly that, in an instant, would not be an exaggeration. Following the thumb, the figure appeared. At this moment, he raised his head and looked at the man in black, who had avoided the attack and was now standing far away. Next time, you won't be able to escape. You are not a member of the Great Luo Sword sect. You are Wang Lin, the 7th disciple of the purple lineage under Tian Yunzi. The man in black coldly said, "What you just used must be the Forbidden Law Annihilation Finger, a technique that gained fame during Tian Yunzi's birthday banquet." The man in black felt an intense sense of regret. He had long heard of Wang Lin's name, and had even seen a jade slip with his appearance once. After all, disciples of Tian Yunzi were figures that every force across the entire Destiny Star had to pay attention to. Especially after Wang Lin's battle, where he defeated many, if not for the sudden appearance of the 6th purple disciple, who overpowered Wang Lin with his cultivation. The title of the 7 children of heavenly destiny would have been Wang Lin's. Such a figure could not be overlooked. Moreover, the forbidden techniques Wang Lin used were incredibly bizarre, adept at using the weak to defeat the strong. This caused many forces to be captivated by him. The man in black sighed inwardly. Had he known Wang Lin's identity earlier, he would never have acted so rashly. Despite Wang Lin's cultivation being in the mid-infant metamorphosis stage, he should not be underestimated. Although Wang Lin lost to the Ascendant Cultivator, he displayed immense offensive power, especially with the few magical treasures he wielded, which drew attention from numerous factions. The man in black realized that even if he were to win, killing Wang Lin would be nearly impossible. After all, everyone knows about the Destiny Star, and the disciples of the Heavenly Destiny sect all possess life-saving treasures. Unless the gap in cultivation is too vast, it's almost as if they have an extra life. Wang Lin's gaze flickered. Just moments ago, when the sword-shattering radiance and the black fire from the sky descended upon him, he had used the Seal of Life to form 3 layers of protection. Only then could he resist the combined attack of these 2 divine abilities. However, the man in black was, after all, a cultivator at the perfect late infant metamorphosis stage. His immense cultivation and solidified immortal power were far beyond what Wang Lin could compare to. His 2 divine abilities were not ordinary methods either. As a result, while Wang Lin managed to resist, one of his 3 seals of life shattered, disintegrating completely. The Seal of Life was Wang Lin's ultimate life-saving skill, something he had worked so hard to form over the years. Now, one of them had been destroyed by the man in black, which caused Wang Lin deep pain and a surge of killing intent. Seeing his opponent retreat without a fight, Wang Lin's eyes flashed with cold light. He immediately stepped forward to chase him. At the same time, he slapped his storage pouch, and the Kunji whip appeared in his hand. With the whip in hand, Wang Lin swung it suddenly as he pursued. The sound of cracking echoed in the void as the whip extended like a black flood dragon, sweeping through the air and swinging violently towards the man in black. The man in black's face darkened. He quickly turned around and reached out to grab the whip. Shouting, he said, "Unaware of your place, enough. Today, I, Luo, will give you a little lesson on behalf of your master." As his hand reached for the whip, 5 red dots appeared on the tips of his fingers. These 5 red dots moved as if alive, filling the air with a strange aura. At this moment, from a distance, it seemed as though the man in black wasn't moving his hand at all, but rather the 5 blood-red dots. His right hand moved at lightning speed, catching the wildly swinging Kunji whip. The moment he grabbed it, the red dots on his fingers emitted blinding light, and as the lights intercrossed, they formed a 5-pointed star-like seal network. "Seal?" The man in black growled. A cold smile appeared on Wang Lin's lips. Instead of rushing to reclaim the Kunji whip, he stamped his foot and vanished, teleporting directly towards the man in black. Just as Wang Lin teleported, the man in black's shout had barely left his mouth. A flash of black light suddenly streaked from the tip of the Kunji whip, spreading with unimaginable speed. At the same time, as the black light spread to the man in black's hand, he suddenly let out a sharp cry. The sound of sizzling came from his hand, and white smoke billowed from where he held the whip. The man in black immediately released his grip, his eyes wide with shock. He knew that his blood thread slaughter was an elite technique of the forbidden arts, designed to seal an enemy's magical treasure. In all his years of cultivation, this technique had never failed, until now. Withdrawing his hand, the man's battle intent vanished, and he quickly retreated, attempting to teleport away. But just as he did, the Kunji whip suddenly lashed out from an impossible angle, striking him with a crisp cracking sound. The strike caused his face to turn pale, but his eyes gleamed with an unprecedented, eerie light. A treasure that specifically harms the essence spirit. The man in black took a deep breath, his feet never pausing as he charged forward. However, as he retreated, the void around him twisted. Wang Lin, having teleported once more, caught up completely. The man's eyes flashed, and he snorted coldly. He spat out a cloud of black gas, which immediately surged and enveloped Wang Lin's body. Without pausing, the man in black flashed away, vanishing into the demonic aura swirling around him, disappearing without a trace. As soon as Wang Lin appeared, he was enveloped by the toxic black mist. His divine sense immediately detected the painful sting of its poison. Without hesitation, Wang Lin formed a hand seal and muttered, "Wind." At his command, a strange wind appeared out of nowhere, stirring up a storm and tearing a hole in the black mist. As soon as the hole formed, it began to close, but in that instant, Wang Lin's figure turned into a wisp of azure smoke and dashed through the gap. After emerging, Wang Lin's heart was filled with wariness towards the man in black. His spells were endless, and it was clear that he still had treasures he hadn't used. The reason he retreated must have been due to his recognition of Wang Lin's identity, knowing that despite losing to the Tao-seeking cultivator, Wang Lin possessed countless magical treasures. Although I don't know which sect this person belongs to, he must be a local from Destiny Star. It's not a secret that all disciples of the Heavenly Destiny sect possess life-saving treasures. With this person's cunning, once he recognized my identity, he must have thought through many things. He knows killing me won't be easy, and that's why he retreated. This person must not be left alive. A cold glint flashed in Wang Lin's eyes as he pursued relentlessly. The two of them rushed forward, one in front and one behind, weaving through the waves of demonic spirit energy in the dark night. The deeper they went into the waves of demonic spirit energy, the more powerful the demonic entities they encountered. These beings could take countless forms, but the one constant was the horns on their heads. The number of horns directly indicated their strength, and the more horns they had, the more powerful they were. At the location where Wang Lin and the man in black were, they weren't at the heart of the waves but on the outskirts. This meant that the entities here were relatively weak, which was why the man in black could survive and absorb demonic energy. As the two of them continued their run, demonic entities frequently materialized. These beings weren't particularly strong, and whenever one appeared, it was swiftly destroyed by their movements. With each death, a trace of demonic energy would be absorbed by the killer. As the man in black ran, his brow furrowed. Suddenly, his body twisted unnaturally to the side, as though he had no bones, and at that moment, a black flash passed by, brushing against his body. He snorted coldly, his body returning to normal. A quick sweep with his divine sense revealed that Wang Lin was still in hot pursuit. Such insufferable persistence. Wang Lin is like a bone that has entered my marrow, troublesome indeed. Especially that curved blade of his, it's too fast. If not for my preparations, I would have surely suffered. If he didn't have some protective treasure, I'd kill him today and swallow his demon crystal. The man in black's face darkened, and with a cold snort, he formed a seal with his hands. As his hands moved, the waves of demonic energy around him scattered as if they feared to approach. Dark smoke appeared around his hands, swirling and coiling. He took a deep breath, and suddenly pressed his right hand to his chest. As his palm made contact, the black smoke rapidly entered his chest. The man in black's face contorted in pain, bloodshot veins appeared in his eyes, and his entire demeanor looked monstrous, as though he were enduring immense agony. As the black smoke continued to pour into his chest, he could no longer hold back and let out an enraged roar. His roar echoed through the heavens and earth. The demonic waves around him were forcefully pushed away by the sound, creating a vacuum about 100 feet in diameter around his body. From above, it would be clear that a gap had been created in the demonic energy, leaving 100-foot empty space. At that moment, Wang Lin arrived, halting at the edge of the vacuum. His gaze was cold as he looked at the man in black. Standing at the center of the vacuum, the man in black looked up sharply and glared at Wang Lin. Slowly, he said, "You're asking for death." With that, he raised his left hand and pointed at Wang Lin. Dark smoke began to coil around his hand like countless writhing tendrils. "Forbidden magic, fourth heavenly ghost, manifest." Upon these words, the pain on the man's face intensified. Blood vessels swelled beneath his skin, and blue veins bulged grotesquely, as though a strange force was surging from his chest and flowing into his left arm. The dark smoke around his left hand twisted and writhed, rapidly transforming into a black, ghostly figure. This ghostly figure manifested on his left hand and immediately let out a silent roar. Though no sound escaped, the silent roar sent shockwaves that pushed the surrounding demonic waves back by several dozen feet. Wang Lin immediately retreated. Though the sound was inaudible to the naked ear, his divine sense could clearly feel the force behind that roar, as if it could tear the heavens apart. "Release." The man in black growled lowly. Though it was just one word, there was a tremor in his voice, revealing how much pain he was enduring. With his command, the ghostly figure on his left hand suddenly moved and shot out from his palm. Its eyes gleamed with eerie light, and it locked onto Wang Lin with a sinister grin, moving at an incredible speed. Wang Lin's eyes flashed. With a thought, the immortal sword appeared before him with a whistle. He swung it, and the sword beam shot forward. But when it hit the ghostly figure, it opened its mouth wide and swallowed the sword beam whole. The curved blade, too, passed harmlessly through the ghostly figure without any effect. Even when aimed at the man in black's body, It was blocked by countless black threads extending from his body, forming a dense shield around him. The curved blade couldn't penetrate. The approaching ghost shadow paused for a moment, but immediately its eyes gleamed with a dark light, and it stopped targeting Wang Lin. Instead, it dashed straight toward the infant metamorphosis souls. Wang Lin's gaze flickered. His body moved swiftly, bypassing the ghost shadow. With a swipe of his right hand across his storage pouch, the beast-taming ring appeared in his palm. He threw it, and then raised his right hand, pointing his index finger toward the black-clad man. The black-clad man's expression darkened, and he grabbed at the air with his left hand, calling out, "Return." The ghost shadow howled in frustration, as if it were unwilling. The black-clad man cursed inwardly, realizing he could not continue to control it, as Wang Lin's figure seemed like lightning, rapidly closing in. At the instant Wang Lin's index finger pointed into the void, his immortal power suddenly reversed, condensing into his fingertip. Demon Transformation Finger, the second of the 3 killer moves. With a single finger, the wind and clouds changed color, and boundless demonic energy surged from Wang Lin's body, condensing at his fingertip. At that moment, the surrounding demonic energy spread wildly. No longer under the black-clad man's control, the ghost shadow immediately charged toward the infant metamorphosis souls Wang Lin had unleashed. To its eyes, these soul bodies were prime nourishment. Once devoured, they might greatly enhance its ghostly power. Demon Transformation Finger. The black-clad man instantly recognized the move. He remembered when Wang Lin used it in a battle against the 4th Elder of the Purple Faction, a match that left a lasting impression on all who witnessed it. The black-clad man's eyes flickered. He couldn't take his right hand off his chest, or the ghost shadow art would be broken. In this moment of crisis, he quickly retreated, spitting out another cloud of black mist. The foul wind blew, and the black poison mist spread out, attempting to block Wang Lin's advance. Wang Lin snorted coldly. 2 gray symbols flickered between his eyebrows, immediately extending to cover his whole body. The seal of life appeared again. Once covered, Wang Lin's figure surged like lightning, charging directly into the poison mist. It was as if a dragon swimming through the sea, penetrating the mist. Every time the poison mist touched his body, it immediately dissipated. The black-clad man continued to retreat, his poison mist seemingly endless, spewing out in an attempt to halt Wang Lin's advance. Meanwhile, he flashed and teleported toward the ghost shadow he had released. However, he hadn't expected the effect of his signature poison mist to be minimal against Wang Lin. No sooner had he teleported than Wang Lin's figure pierced through the vast poison mist, emerging with his right index finger extended, a fierce, magic-infused strike aimed directly at him. Demon Transformation Finger. The black-clad man's expression changed, and he hastily raised his left hand, forming a quick seal, attempting to counter Wang Lin's overwhelming force. The 2 fingers met in an instant, but it wasn't a full collision. There was a mere 3-inch gap between them. Within that 3-inch space, something extraordinary occurred. Wang Lin's demonic energy, spreading from his fingertip, collided with the black aura shot out by the black-clad man. Suddenly, a deep black ball appeared between their fingers. This small ball was composed of the demonic energy and the black aura emitted by the black-clad man. A thunderous roar echoed from within, accompanied by arcs of electricity streaking along its surface. At that moment, it was as if time and space had frozen. All the light seemed to concentrate on Wang Lin and the black-clad man. Wang Lin hovered in the air, his clothes fluttering despite the lack of wind, and his long hair billowing with an ethereal quality. The black-clad man, on the other hand, stood on the ground, his expression grim. His gaze was like lightning as he raised his left hand. His clothes billowed as if caught by a fierce wind, making loud whipping noises. Even his hair seemed to be blown backward. The small ball between their fingertips grew louder, as if it were about to explode. Wang Lin's immortal power transformed wildly into demonic energy, constantly flooding into the ball. The black-clad man inwardly groaned in despair. He had no choice but to pour all the ghost immortal chi he had cultivated into the ball. If he didn't, once Wang Lin's energy overpowered him, it would rebound with devastating effect. With your mere mid-infant metamorphosis stage immortal power, I don't believe you can surpass my perfect late infant metamorphosis stage. Since you wish to challenge me, let's see who lives and who dies. The black-clad man's face twisted with savagery, but he did not open his mouth. Instead, he transmitted his divine sense in a frenzied manner. Your heavenly ghost is released. With it absorbing your immortal power, how can you hope to contend with me? Wang Lin's gaze was sharp as he responded with his own divine sense. The black-clad man sneered, glaring at Wang Lin. With gritted teeth, he suddenly raised his right hand from his chest. The moment he did, the heavenly ghost, which had been tussling with the main soul and attempting to devour it, let out a roar and spun around, locking its gaze on the black-clad man. The man in black paused with his right hand, but immediately lifted it forcefully from his chest. As he raised it, black threads appeared between his chest and right hand, stretching out like sticky strands. At the moment he lifted his hand, the heavenly ghost let out a roar filled with resentment. Its figure began to fade, but just before it completely disappeared, its eyes flashed with a faint, eerie glow. It glanced at the black-clad man's current state and then at Wang Lin, who was opposing it. It seemed to have made a decision, and before its body could completely dissipate, a burst of black light suddenly flickered from within it. The black-clad man's expression changed, and at that moment, the black light within the heavenly ghost surged like a mountain. Its entire body, shrouded in the black light, stopped fading. The heavenly ghost immediately turned around and charged forward, breaking through the demonic chi wave and speeding away. As for the primary souls, they flickered and immediately gave chase. The scene unfolded so rapidly that the black-clad man was momentarily stunned, but he quickly roared in fury. His eyes turned blood red as he suddenly focused on Wang Lin, shouting, "It's all your fault. If you hadn't held me back, the heavenly ghost would never have escaped." Wang Lin's gaze was cold as he said, "You deserve it." The black-clad man's eyes brimmed with murderous intent as he sneered, "Little bastard, you're dead." He took a deep breath, and without the heavenly ghost's absorption, all the ghost immortal power he had cultivated through his sex techniques surged into the small orb in his hand. Wang Lin, die. With a mighty shout, he poured 90% of his ghost immortal power into the orb. The sound of thunder from the orb reverberated across the heavens, as if what was being gathered between their fingers was not a mere object, but the legendary heavenly tribulation thunder. As the ghost immortal power merged with the orb, Wang Lin's immortal power immediately began to dwindle. The orb slowly moved toward him, gaining overwhelming force. A savage expression appeared on the black-clad man's face as he imagined Wang Lin being struck by the orb. His entire body would be shattered, flesh and blood disintegrating into fragments, and even his essence spirit would be obliterated, forcefully shattered and disappearing forever, never to be reincarnated, cutting off his life, destroying the cycle of reincarnation, erasing all traces. But at that moment, the black-clad man froze, for when he looked at Wang Lin, he did not see fear, nor indifference, but something strange, a half-smile, a mocking look. This expression made his heart tremble. Wang Lin didn't even glance at the orb. He lightly muttered, "Divine Chariot, activate." As soon as the words left his mouth, a thunderous roar echoed from the direction where Wang Lin had previously thrown the beast-taming ring. The sound carried an unyielding will. It was as though an ancient beast had awakened, daring to defy the heavens, capable of swallowing immortals, never to kneel. The black-clad man's face changed drastically. The next moment, the massive body of the soul beast appeared, and as soon as it materialized, it let out another furious roar. Wang Lin shouted, "Kill him." The soul beast roared, its eyes gleaming with cold light, fixated on Wang Lin. Having dealt with the beast's disobedience before, Wang Lin was prepared. With a cold grunt, he uttered a single word. The word was cryptic and incomprehensible to outsiders, but it was one of the 9 true words Wang Lin had learned from the immortal jade slip after inheriting the artifact. These words were designed specifically to control this beast. Each word corresponded to one of the seals, and with each release of a seal, he could command it. Immortals, when refining treasures, would always make preparations to avoid the treasures turning against them. At the utterance of that word, the once unyielding beast shuddered. Its eyes blazed with killing intent as it immediately turned its attention to the black-clad man. It roared and seemed to unleash all of its rage onto him, charging forward. This all happened in a flash, from the appearance of the soul beast to its attack. The beast's speed was like lightning as it charged toward the black-clad man. The black-clad man's face turned pale, never before having looked so terrified. He poured all his ghost immortal power into his body but could not dodge. If he did, the destructive orb would immediately turn back on him. Now, with the soul beast charging at him, there was no escape. Cold sweat poured down his face as he gritted his teeth. He cast a vicious glare at Wang Lin and, with lightning speed, raised his left hand, slamming it onto his forehead. His entire body trembled, and his essence spirit instantly left his body, flashing toward the distance without looking back. At the moment his essence spirit left his body, the person's physical form lost the control of the essence spirit and collapsed to the ground like a lifeless corpse. The small ball that had originally been moving toward Wang Lin immediately paused, then shot toward the black-clad man's body with incredible speed. A deafening noise suddenly erupted, and the ball landed directly on the black-clad man's body. His clothes disintegrated instantly, his skin shattered, and his flesh turned to ashes. His bones broke apart into nothingness. In the blink of an eye, all traces of his existence on this world, aside from his essence spirit, completely vanished. The soul beast missed, letting out an angry roar in frustration as it tried to chase after the black-clad man's essence spirit. However, due to the restriction of the divine chariot, it couldn't go too far and began to roar in annoyance. Wang Lin stretched out his right hand and grabbed the divine chariot out of thin air. As he moved, it sped off into the distance. The soul beast immediately became happy, darting through Wang Lin and quickly pursuing ahead. Man and beast, this was their first time working together so closely. With Wang Lin holding the divine chariot, the soul beast's movement range was greatly expanded. After a short chase, the soul beast grew impatient, turned its massive head to look at Wang Lin, and growled. Its enormous body swayed and shot toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression remained calm, though his pupils contracted slightly. The soul beast moved quickly, closing the distance in an instant. Wang Lin's eyes flashed coldly as he focused on the beast. If it came any closer, he would show no hesitation in punishing it. The soul beast halted its charge, a hint of dejection showing in its eyes. Wang Lin's heart stirred, the cold gleam in his eyes fading. He nodded at the soul beast. The beast's massive head glanced at Wang Lin before it suddenly shifted, its body moving swiftly to catch him. But it wasn't attacking. Instead, it hoisted Wang Lin up with a swift movement, then landed back at his feet, carrying him off toward the distance at lightning speed. Wang Lin forced down his joy. This was the first time the soul beast had willingly carried him. The immortal who had crafted the divine chariot had left a message saying that this wasn't an ordinary artifact. While the chariot's incantations could enhance its mobility, unless the soul beast truly recognized its user, the artifact's power would be limited. Only by truly gaining the soul beast recognition could the full power of the divine chariot be unlocked. Wang Lin took a deep breath and looked down at the soul beast beneath him. This beast doesn't truly recognize me yet. It's just eager to devour that essence spirit and is annoyed that I'm too slow, so it's carrying me. But even so, it's a lot better than before. The soul beast's speed was naturally incredible, even matching Wang Lin's use of the silver dragon star compass in the starry sky. Amidst the lightning and thunder, the soul beast turned into a series of afterimages, darting forward at an unbelievable speed and disappearing in a flash. The black-clad man's essence spirit was rushing forward. In the essence spirit's dantian, there was a small crystal the size of a fingertip, with traces of demonic power slowly expanding. As he fled, his hatred for Wang Lin surged, vowing that once he found a new body and restored his cultivation, he would find a way to cruelly kill Wang Lin and exact his revenge. As he fled, his expression suddenly changed. He turned around, only to see the soul beast, like a soul-reaping deity, breaking through the void and chasing after him. The black-clad man's essence spirit showed panic, about to change direction to escape. But just then, the soul beast roared, its voice like an invisible sword, piercing through space and echoing outward. The black-clad man's essence spirit trembled, his speed slowing for an instant. In that brief moment, the soul beast closed in. Its eyes gleamed with greed as it realized that if it devoured this essence spirit, its power would grow. Once its power reached a sufficient level, it could break free from its current prison, gaining freedom in the vast world. With this thought in mind, the soul beast made a powerful effort, its mouth opening wide to devour the essence spirit, bringing with it a gust of rancid wind. This wind was the soul wind, and as it swept across the black-clad man's essence spirit, his body stiffened. If he were an ordinary nascent soul, without a physical form, this wind would have drained all his strength in an instant. But the black-clad man was no mere nascent soul. He was at the late stage of infant metamorphosis, on the brink of becoming a mighty essence spirit. While the soul wind was effective, it couldn't completely freeze him. His face turned pale as his body, moving at an impossible angle, suddenly lunged out of the soul beast's grasp just as it was about to devour him. He prepared to escape using a secret technique that would irreparably damage his essence spirit, but ensure his escape. At this moment, Wang Lin moved. He didn't move his body, but his Kunji whip. The whip shadow flickered like a ghost, and with a swift motion, the black-clad man's essence spirit was snatched up by the whip, pulled back into Wang Lin's hand, and imprisoned within a soul banner. The soul beast immediately became furious. It shook its body and suddenly turned around, lunging at Wang Lin with its mouth wide open. To it, the meal it had just caught had been snatched away by a human, and its anger in that moment was no less than when it was sealed and refined by an immortal. Wang Lin sighed inwardly. His gaze turned cold, and he uttered a single word. Upon hearing that word, the soul beast's eyes immediately turned red, and it let out an enraged roar. After a moment, it shot Wang Lin a furious glance, then its massive body returned to the divine chariot. The instant its body landed on the chariot, it didn't give Wang Lin any time. The divine chariot immediately transformed with a loud bang into a beast-taming ring, which automatically flew to Wang Lin's feet. At once, a powerful suction force erupted from within the ring, pulling at him furiously. Wang Lin smiled bitterly. This soul beast's temper was a real headache. He quickly sat cross-legged on the ground, tapping his storage pouch with his right hand. Holding the immortal jade, he resisted the pull of the beast-taming ring. This time, the immortal energy absorbed by the beast-taming ring was much more than before, which showed just how furious the soul beast was. Although the absorption of immortal energy was a side effect of the beast-taming ring's divine power, the longer it fused with the soul beast, the more control it had. However, this control was limited. It could only increase the energy absorption when using the ring. After a long while, Wang Lin took a deep breath as the suction from the ring gradually faded. Clearly, the soul beast was now too weak to control the ring any longer and had no choice but to give up unwillingly. Storing the beast-taming ring away, Wang Lin smiled bitterly again. He sighed, sitting in meditation once more and gradually replenished his immortal energy before finally opening his eyes. This soul beast. Wang Lin shook his head. By this time, the sky had brightened, and the demon spirit chi wave that had lasted all night had begun to fade. Wang Lin stood up and tapped his storage pouch again. He took out the soul banner that had sealed the black-clad man's essence spirit. With a flick, the man's essence spirit shot out, and Wang Lin's right hand moved like lightning, grabbing the essence spirit instantly. At the same time, Wang Lin's immortal energy turned into threads that penetrated the man's essence spirit, forming a restriction. If the man tried to self-destruct, this restriction would help alleviate it. Although, due to Wang Lin's cultivation level, he couldn't fully seal the man's self-destruction. He could still know in advance and seal the man inside the soul banner before the self-destruction could occur. I will not yield. If you didn't have that soul beast treasure, if you didn't have those essence spirits that attracted the heavenly ghosts, you would never have been my match in today's battle. You would have died for sure. The black-clad man's essence spirit immediately roared, his eyes filled with venom. He knew that being captured meant certain death, and the seals inside his body told him that self-destruction was out of the question. He decided to vent his anger freely. What is the demon crystal? Wang Lin didn't waste time with empty words. He asked directly. The black-clad man's essence spirit sneered coldly, saying, "Shameless person, you're forcing me to fight with you, making me release my treasures while I'm at full power, forcing my essence spirit to leave my body. Is this the work of the Tianyun sect?" Wang Lin's brows furrowed, and his right hand squeezed. Immediately, the essence spirit's face contorted in pain, letting out cries of agony before collapsing, though his malicious glare only intensified. I, Luo Yun, am from the path of the heavenly ghost. I cultivate the heavenly ghost path, and I have protective ghost spirits. If you kill me, my master, Ghost Venerable, will know. He will avenge me. Even Tian Yunzi must treat my master as an equal. Wang Lin, think carefully. The essence spirit sneered, looking at Wang Lin. Wang Lin gave him a cold look, his patience wearing thin. He slapped the essence spirit's body with his left hand. This slap nearly caused the disembodied essence spirit to dissipate, weakening it immediately. My master will not let you go. Luo Yun's eyes were filled with extreme malice. Wang Lin's eyes flashed coldly. He placed his left hand on the essence spirit's forehead and calmly spoke. Soul searching. Soul searching art has many restrictions, but with Wang Lin's current cultivation, it wasn't difficult to use it with immortal energy. Furthermore, the essence spirit was extremely weak, so there were no obstacles to applying it. Piercing, agonized screams came from Luo Yun's essence spirit. Soul-searching art was a domineering and deeply immoral divine technique. When used on a body, the pain would be less, but when used on an essence spirit, the suffering would be magnified several times. Luo Yun's screams slowly faded, and after the time it took for an incense stick to burn, there was almost no sound left. His entire essence spirit had become nearly transparent. Wang Lin lifted his left hand and penetrated Luo Yun's essence spirit, reaching the area of his dantian. When he withdrew his hand, he was holding a crystal. Wang Lin showed a contemplative expression. He stored Luo Yun's weakened essence spirit in the soul banner. He had use for this essence spirit and planned to refine it into one of the primary souls for the soul banner. After placing the soul banner into the storage pouch, Wang Lin's body shifted, transforming into rolling thunder as he sped toward the distant horizon. His destination was the very path where the primary soul had gone in pursuit of the heavenly ghost. So this land of demon spirits holds such mysteries, he muttered. No wonder Ouyang Hua mentioned that every time outsiders enter here, a bloodbath ensues. Path of the heavenly ghost. Although Luo Yun's words may be exaggerated, there is some truth to them. But this matter pertains to 500 years from now, so it doesn't need to concern me at this moment. The cultivation method of the path of the heavenly ghost is quite intriguing. Furthermore, Luo Yun's memory of several forbidden demonic arts might be something worth studying. To those who claimed I didn't keep my promises, criticizing me here and there, you can all go find a corner and draw circles, because I've fulfilled my promise regarding the 17th,